Subscribe our channel 13 and press that bell icon to get an instant update of our latest content. Today's episode is inspired by this film called The Disciple, directed by Chaitanya Tamhane, and it was released on 4th of September 2020. The following day, I happened to watch the trailer of the film on 5th September, which happens to be Teacher's Day. And I had written something on that day which is coming to my mind. So I'll just read that and then we can start the discussion, Prasanna.
Okay.
A disciple is someone who follows the path laid by her or his teacher in an unwavering manner. Each day, the disciple practices with the utmost concentration to align and recalibrate onto the given path. Each day is a day to learn. The term for this each day practice is riyaz. But Riyaz is much more profound than a mere practice. Beyond discipline and practice, Riyaz has devotion, a leap of faith, total immersion, and involvement. A disciple's job is simply to focus on the journey and not think or check on the destination. A disciple's path is an endless one. If one is never reaching the destination, then how can there be a satisfaction or joy? To know and experience it, one has to become a disciple and walk the given path. Now, in this context, the last statement which I was reading, Prasanna, is to know and experience it, one has to become a disciple and walk the given path in itself is slightly paradoxical in the way that a disciple has to walk the path for the entire life, probably, and there is a never ending riyaz that goes on. And that means that the answer lies in not concluding.
Hmm.
And I'm saying here that to know and experience it, one has to become a disciple and walk the given path, is not to be looked at as a conclusive answer, but as an inquiry, and we can start the conversation from there.
Yeah. So, Shantesh, when you're saying about the inquiry of disciple, and when we say disciple, it is in the context of learning. Now, when we look at learning, if we see, we take a step back, and if we see the whole process, how it starts, going from maybe Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. Now, that fittest, he says, is in the context of adaptability, flexibility, and learning to the new changes, new environment. And in a way, it's an ongoing process, is what I say. So the species which we see today are the species which have been a kind of disciple to the surrounding environment and the changes around them. Otherwise they would have not been in present days scenario. Like, for example, the dinosaurs, who were the biggest, the largest, are not there because they could not change, they could not adapt to the changes. Whereas a cockroach has, as they say, has survived several holocausts. So the point is, uh, evolutionary biology also talks about how a learner, a disciple, can be a path not only to survive but to thrive even as a species.
Hmm. And that brings to me to a different question in into this subject itself, because the moment we see as learning comes with a certain agenda as we understand it today.
Hmm.
Whereas learning, actually, if you see, has no agenda. As we are conversing, we are learning from each other what we are picking. And to be very honest, of course, we have to complete this recording and make a podcast and all that. But there is no agenda
Yeah.
to this. And so, if we come with an agenda to learn, then is that learning then?
Yeah, so what you're saying is correct in a way that when we are not having an agenda, but still there will be some objective. As we say in learning, we start with some learning objective. So every conversation, every interaction, every um, course of discussion between a teacher and a student happens in the context of learning. Of course, I agree with you fully that many a times both of them learn, both the teacher as well as the disciple.
Hmm.
But I think there will be some agenda might be a stronger word, but then learning objective, as we call, will be there for every learning, and in that context of that objective, the whole setup of learning will happen. So in case of a disciple also, of course, he or she is aware of the context in which the whole training, learning, or grooming is going to happen, or the coaching which is going to happen. uh, so I don't see any issue there as such, to be very honest. But I think what is more important is, as you said, the openness to accept and the emptiness with which to start.
So this reminds me of during second semester of architecture, one of my teacher, Pratap sir, he was talking about, he was taking this subject called art appreciation, and in that we had a conversation, and we were uh, subject was introduced for the first time, and he was saying that the idea of guru shishya, teacher and student, is that they are both at same level, and only when they are at same level, then learning can happen mutually. If you put the teacher above the disciple or the student, then it is one way traffic, that you are only imparting knowledge, and that's a conventional understanding. But the moment they are together at the same level, they both are learning from each other, and in a way they both are being discipled. So I think that that is what is coming to my mind, that in the context of disciple, now I'm also looking at this from the film context, but the moment we hear that, I hear the term disciple, I also see it in the context of music, where all these great Indian classical musicians who have gone to this gone through this guru shishya parampara, and they have submitted themselves. So in the context of disciple, when they are at two level, both, I mean, both teacher and the disciple are at the same level, then how is there a submission, or to whom is this submission, is also a sort of a question that is kind of popping in my head.
Correct. So I think it is very important that we look at this submission, or rather surrender, as we keep on saying when we talk about disciple, because that comes to our mind. Disciple means to surrender to things. I think it has to be a very good balance of both surrender and creativity. And surrender not as just to listen to the guru or teacher or expert just because the person is saying it, without evaluating, without understanding it in a right way. But at the same time, the reason I use the word balance is because initially, as a disciple, I might not even be knowing the different areas which are there in the topic of discussion, and so it is very important for me to be open. That is why instead of surrender, I would rather go with the word openness and emptiness. Because we have been listening about that analogy where filled glass cannot be filled. One has to have a empty glass so that it can be filled with whatever a person is looking for. So I think that emptiness is more empowering and more encouraging than surrender, I would say. But I get your point. It is a kind of submission, to be open to new ideas, to listen to those ideas, to try and experiment with those ideas, and to then come up with one's own creativity. And in that whole process, both of them learn. And when I'm talking about teacher, as you said, I think rather than taking a stance or a role of a teacher and I try to teach you or you try to teach me, learning really happens when a person learns rather than he is
Hmm.
being taught. So if I am observing you, I am learning a lot from you. You might not be calling yourself a teacher.
Hmm. Now, coming back to this idea of disciple, what you said is that submission and surrender. Now, I was in that conversation, I started looking in the background as we were conversing about the etymology of the word disciple, and it comes from discipulus, which is learner or to learn. And if I look at discipline, right? So it also has a similar etymology from disciples,
Yes.
and it is from an old French word which comes, and to that, where is the origin? I'm not tracking right now. But what I'm trying to connect the dot is where you are surrendering as a disciple, is the surrender happens to the discipline,
Hmm.
not to the teacher. Of course, the teacher is aware of that discipline, and in that context, when a student musician is submitting herself or himself to the teacher, it is to the discipline of that teacher, and through that they are kind of, they both are surrendered to the same discipline, and that I think is coming at the same platform.
Right. And now, when we are looking at the word and how the different meanings are, I think discipline is also used. We may have to check more, but then discipline is also used for certain kind of practices, like in medical
Absolutely.
discipline. Yeah. So, in both way, I can relate to that what you are saying. So, absolutely correct. So, it is not a surrender to a person and then bringing a gas cylinder to a teacher's house, but trying to actually understand what the teacher is teaching. Because in olden days, there were a lot of stories, especially in small schools and small villages, where the students who were helping the teachers with this gas cylinder, or going and helping with some other daily chores,
Daily chores and stuff.
yeah, is called a disciple. But we are not looking it in that context.
I think they like in the case of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi and so on and so forth, when they were learning and all that, they have submitted themselves to their teacher, and for the longest period the teacher uh, made them do such things,
Hmm.
while it may or may not be appropriate, and that is not the point of question here. But what I'm trying to gather from that is maybe it was a teacher's way to check whether how uh, sincere or how committed they are to the discipline, and through other means also. And it was uh, a point where we kind of then tend to misunderstand between obedience and commitment to the discipline. So obedience to the teacher we mostly kind of take as a role of disciple also, sometimes
Hmm.
that is misconstrued. But I think it is also the in that submission to the teacher there is actually being committed to the teacher's training, or that discipline in itself.
Yeah, and I agree. When we are talking about the different approaches of teaching, of course, I would also like to clarify our stand about this podcast. Because we are in our initial episodes of podcast, so it is important that we also clarify. So, one of the agenda, or one of the idea of this podcast is not to get into the rightness and wrongness. So, with that, I would like to say that when it comes to teaching, also many people have their own ways. So we may not be in a position right now to tell what is correct, what is wrong, or what is to be done, what is not to be done. So this is not a podcast of do's and don'ts. So I
Mm,
yeah, so I think there is a approach of what we call as the Socratic approach to teaching, where, as
mm,
you said, asking to go and bring one cylinder, or checking whether he comes at 5 o'clock in the morning or not, putting him in water as Socrates used to put in water and tell them what is the importance of breathing and what is the importance of air. Now,
mm,
those are the methods. So, I don't want to get into a discussion of whether that is the right method, wrong method, human rights will allow it or not. I don't know. But the
mm,
point is, those are different methods and those have been working. And I have seen many behavioral changes happen because of those methods. People have shifted, people have transformed after such instances. But again, as I said, it is a matter of choice and matter of approach
mm.
towards learning process.
Anyway, we are not experts in identifying or commenting on the methods, but what I really kind of liked is you put the context in which our podcast is set. But I'm bringing that context also to the conversation that is there today, because we are not in the process of going in the direction of right and wrong. The moment you want to term something as right or wrong is the urge for us, we have to conclude on things. And I
Mm,
believe that when you are concluding on something, there is, that means that there is then nothing to be done beyond that. And
absolutely.
I think therefore in creativity there is never a conclusion, conclusion rather happens with death, because
Yes.
there is, at least as we understand, that death is the most perfect thing that happens, and therefore there's nobody can be dead half, right? Whereas in, and therefore a conclusion can happen in the context of death, uh, and not as a physical death I'm saying, but death meaning that there is no progress beyond. But if one is to progress ongoingly, continuously, then I think one cannot conclude. And a disciple, therefore, in that sense, is a lifelong journey that they continuously take, and they pass on that discipline to the next person and the next person. And therefore, even when they are gone, the discipline keeps on evolving and continuously adapting and modifying itself and changing, and new learning keeps on happening. And so it becomes a never ending process. The day you conclude that, oh, this is the perfect answer, is the day where the universe should end.
Correct. And I think when it comes to disciples, also historically, if we see, there have been instances where the choice of a disciple was also an important point. And some people insisted on sharing the knowledge to their own generations, and because of which many excellent things which were being done, they got lost, and
Mm,
because they were not transferred to other people for whatever reason. There were various things. It was the socio-economical conditions, the cultural concepts, and the traditions, as we call. So because of that, it could not get translated. So the whole topic of disciple has different dimensions, is what I can see, especially when you see about many art forms. If those are not moved on from generation to generation, there is a huge possibility of they getting extinct, as we talked about the dinosaurs.
mm. But coming back to our day to day life, are we being disciples in our day to day life, or how can we become disciples? To me, what is coming to my mind is that everyday simple things that we are also doing, we are not present to them, and we are not aware of them, and we keep on doing them mechanically. But if we observe certain things, just about, let's say, eating, having your meal, and doing that with full presence, being fully aware and trying to observe what effect each ingredient has on our own body, and for each one of them, that particular ingredient, based on their daily needs and diet and dietary requirements and so on and so forth, can have a different impact. And to be sensitively observing what actually that food is creating an impact within, okay, could also be an opportunity to learn. uh, and these very subtle things that, as we are looking at, and there can be an opportunity to learn there.
Yeah, I agree. So, see, learning has different aspects and different interest on which we learn. But then I get your point when we are understanding ourselves, and which is very important. That I may know nuclear physics, I may know artificial intelligence, but if I don't know myself, I have something to do about it. And as
Mhm.
Socrates says, life without introspection is not worth living. So I think when you are saying that we are normally in the autopilot mode, it makes a lot of sense to stop at times, be slow, look at ourselves, look at our directions, our dimensions, and that opens up certain things. I'm not saying that will change things immediately, but I think that gives a new opening, new thought process. At least we can see our own thought process. So I think being a disciple to oneself is, I think, the beginning of the whole journey of learning.
Of course, and as we say that, we are not concluding that being a disciple is the only thing,
Yeah.
but is the first step towards knowing oneself. And so, with that, I think we can complete our today's podcast, where we can leave this question: is being a disciple the first step to knowing oneself through the discipline that we get involved into? And so it might be an outwardly act, but is it also then an inward journey that one can really take? Thank you for listening. For more such podcasts and daily writings, subscribe us on creating13.com, that is creating13.com. We request you to share this podcast with your friends and family and anyone who may be interested in such topics. Your sharing will only help us to reach out to people and to serve our cause. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. We've put the links in the description. You can also listen to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform now. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode and we wish to have you with us again next week for listening a new episode. Until then, take care